Well, I guess we're going live. I guess we are live. I guess we're here together, live, worldwide. I'm Mgtow Values, and I'm going to be joined, I don't know when, soon, now, in a second, by Lamprey Milt, and we're going to have a discussion about, what's going on, especially about what's going on with Black Lives Matter, the police, and the situation in the West generally. There seems to be an infection. And I think it's best to be situationally aware and understand this infection and how this infection can be, immunized against. And I think Mgtow Ghost Level 4 is a great immunization. There should be no sacrifice of men for no value. There are certainly men out there doing things, and anything you do should be your choice. No one should be forcing you to do things. And at some point, this whole system that is predatory to men, what's the point in maintaining it? And I suppose what we're seeing is a rising up of black people who have maybe made that decision. That is not worth saving. Let's burn it down. And maybe for good reason, maybe not. Today's title: Black Lives Matter, Campaign Zero, No-Brainer. We'll get into this when Lamprey gets in here, and hopefully a lot of other interesting things. Anything anyone wants to discuss, bring it up in the chat, and we'll go through it and try to suss out the situation. But all in all, we're looking at a future where men are respected and men are not called to sacrifice themselves for the benefit of others and no benefit to themselves. So what's going on now is oddly enough, it's a spiral. It's not a circle. History doesn't go in circles. It goes in spirals. And maybe I got to call him. I was sort of thinking he was going to call me. I'm calling Lamprey now. And we'll see if he's here and he's going to jump in, and then whether we can hear him and broadcast worldwide. Yes, indeed. Trying to multitask here is a little bit tricky, but it's okay. Hey, I think we got a connection. Oh, we had a connection, and what I'm reading is Lamprey left the call. I got no idea now. Things like this happen. Maybe I should just call again. What do you think? Should I call again? We had sort of arranged to have a chat. Maybe just hit the wrong button. It's hard to tell. Things happen, and it disconnects automatically. They're trying to shut down the voice of men worldwide, and we're here to prevent that. So we don't give up too easily. And in fact, I'll even try again, but I'll give him 5 minutes the next time. Is he there? Is Lamprey Milt there? Lamprey Milt. Can't hear a thing. I'll hold it. I hear something. I hear a microphone. You said 2 minutes. I don't know when it was, but I'm hearing rattling about in the background. Maybe he's making a coffee.
What do you want, Jonathan?
Ooh.
Where are you?
Ooh, now we're getting like echo tunnel vision. Echo tunnel vision. Da-da-da-da-da. Oh, that's Echo Beach. I was thinking of a song from long ago. Echo Beach, far away. Takes us back in time. And as Lamprey Milt tries to sort out the hangout situation, I'll maybe get things sorted out here. Black Lives Matter, Campaign Zero, No-Brainer. We're going to take a look at what that Campaign Zero is, and let me just get rid of this. And whoops, there we are. We're at a blizzard. We can take a look at this. This is funny. I thought this picture was funny. That shouldn't be Mgtow, right? Those 4 guys should not be Mgtow, because that's the wrong place to be. That's sacrificing yourself for no value. Whatever storm is coming, it's not worth.
Miss Martian, as I like to call it.
I'm gonna get rid of that for a second, and it was bleeding through. I don't think he was aware it was on. Hello? Oh, there we go. I cut him off of the broadcast, but he's still in my headphones. Ah! Get out of my headphones. See, that picture is right there, the disposability of men. You know, what's the point in standing there with a stop sign? Really, that ain't going to stop. And the gynocentric system's not going to stop. Those, manginas and psychopaths and gaslighters, they also are not going to stop until they get men disposed of and they can make money off of it, and that's it. So we're looking at that. So we are definitely in bad times. And I don't know where Lamprey Milt is. Hello, Lamprey. You there?
Give me a minute, man.
Give me a minute,
1
man.
minute. I don't have my connection.
That's what
I
he
got a
said.
bad connection.
Yeah, no problem. Just making sure you're there. Lamprey Milt just said he's there, and when he gets his connection good,
Man.
yeah. My God, Echo Beach. Yeah, I saw that too, Bad Max. In fact, I sent out a message. I said too if by land, and you know what that means. And yeah, I don't. That looks like something there. And people are arming up and they're going to each other's historical monuments. Then I don't know what's going on. So it's. But this is all manufactured, and this is what I want to say. I want to go back to a. Whoops. There we go. Got the right one up here. I wanted to go back to 1967, which is 67, 77, 87, 97, 07, 17, 50. Of course, it's like 54 years. Something like that. My God, what year is it? Yeah, I was 4 years old. I don't remember this, right? I'm pretty old, but I'm not this old. I don't remember this. I was only 4 years old. But there were riots all over the United States. And, there was a few small ones in 67, then bigger ones, in 64. Bigger ones here in 67. They called it the hot summer or something of 1967. And there was further riots upon the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in 68. But these in 67, so I went back and I looked at them all. And I wanted to know, because we're in the middle of riots now, and the riots today are bigger. They're bigger in terms of number of people killed already, and it's not even over. They're bigger in the scope and the number of cities and places that are, doing this. And so I went back and, I just did Wikipedia. This is from Wikipedia, so of all the riots, these are had their own pages, so I went through and did the easy stuff first. But these are major cities, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Detroit, Milwaukee, Newark. These are major cities. And what caused them? What caused these riots? And one would then feed off the other, and it'd be like a fire that feeds itself. So in Buffalo on Monday, the 26th June, 1967, a riot broke out in the city of Buffalo, New York, when two white police officers intervened in an altercation between two male African teenagers. Police. And that's what you're going to see in all of this. So, again, what we see is police incepting the riots. In Cairo, not Cairo, Egypt, but where was it? Cairo, New York? Anyway, a town called Cairo. Unrest starts after a suspicious jailhouse suicide. Oh, yeah. We don't know anything about Epstein. Robert Hunt here, it says, not Epstein. My God, I get confused. Robert Hunt, Epstein. I don't know about suspicious jailhouse suicides. No idea on that. Obviously, the guy was black, and nobody seemed to like him dying. Cambridge riot on the evening of July 24th, 1967. A crowd of 20 to 30 black Cambridge citizens began marching towards Race Street, where a group of police officers met them and prevented their continuing. So here we have peaceful protests being prevented by police officers. This is a violation of the Constitution. Good going. So police officers violate the Constitution and start a riot. It doesn't sound like anything like happening today. Cincinnati riot. Peter Frakes, who was a cousin of this guy convicted of murder and rape, picketed. So he was standing out front with a sign, a sandwich board saying Cincinnati guilty, Lasky innocent. Frakes was arrested by police for blocking the sidewalk. Oh, that doesn't sound anything like what happened to that Australian woman, you know. So here we have again police. They just seem to have no brains. They seem to want to control the situation and not abide by, you know, what the community would want, free speech. So they want to close it down. I looked into the Lasky conviction. It's not good. He probably shouldn't have been convicted, just on my reading of it superficially. It doesn't look good at all. Anyway, Detroit riot. The precipitating event was a police raid of an unlicensed after-hours bar called A Blind Pig on the west side. So the police are involved here trying to shut down commerce. Yeah, welcome to America. No, you cannot open up a business. You must close down. We are the police. We are God. We are God. Anyway, Milwaukee riot around midnight on the evening of July 29th. A fight broke out between two black women. Hey, a cat fight. Outside the St. Francis Social Center on the corner of 4th and West Brown Streets. A crowd of 350 spectators gathered, and when police arrived to respond to the disturbance, the crowd began to throw rocks at the police vehicles. I don't know. And, you know, maybe somebody phoned the police. I don't know. Didn't look good.
I'm here.
Okay, hold on, Lamprey. Let's get you up on the stream. I believe Lamprey Milt is joining us right now. Lamprey, you here?
Happy post 4th of July.
Yes, indeed. I'm Canadian, so it's the 1st of July. But then again, who in the hell cares about Canada?
Yeah, no one cares about your country.
He said it. I'll get over it.
Even your national anthem can't even, can't be taken seriously. Oh, Canada.
Yeah, really. Who gives a damn, Canada? See, this is it. Nobody gives a damn anymore. Anyway, we'll just check with the men in the chat. Make sure your Lamprey Milt's coming in. Are you coming in the chat? Or, no, not in the chat, but can everyone hear Lamprey Milt? So, how are things in New York? I see bad things happening. There's an autonomous zone right downtown.
Well, you're breaking up a bit.
Oh, sorry about that. I was just saying there's an autonomous zone downtown New York.
They're trying to set one up. They've been trying to set one up for the last few weeks, but it hasn't been able to gain any traction. They might be able to pull it off in Midtown Manhattan, where no one lives. But it's the situation's pretty fluid in New York. A lot of things are in disarray. Real estate prices are soaring because of the excess amount of people leaving Manhattan now, and now there's an excess amount of people from Manhattan looking for work where I live out on Long Island.
Oh, right.
And there's absolutely nothing to rent now out on Long Island because how many people are fleeing. My best friend informed me a few hours ago that he put an ad out for a help wanted ad, and he received 4 applications within 30 minutes of people from New York City. And mind you, I live about from Times Square. I'm about a half hour, 45 minutes away, with no traffic. So that's not good. It's not good. It's bad all around. It's bad for me where I live. It's bad for New York. There's major tax problems going forward. I think the whole cutting $1.5 billion from the New York City police budget was more of a financial move. We're broke. The country's broke, and sad to say that New York State is the only location in the United States at this point that actually makes money. There's no other part in the United States that's really bringing in some type of revenue or garnishing some type of new money growth. And Long Island in particular is second in household capital, first being Simi Valley. So you have Simi Valley, which is your tech oligarchs, Google, Facebook, what have you. And then it's Long Island, New York is the runner-up to that. And only by a small margin. So the general household wealth, where in the United States is the highest, it happens to be in these two locations. And now we're under a lot of stresses. There's a lot of, stress problems now with the coronavirus. You have the baby boomer wealth now entering their twilight, cashing out, not looking to renovate their houses and stuff like that. Then you have white flight leaving New York. That's happening. The brain drain is happening. People between the ages of 25 and 40 are looking to leave Manhattan. I read a great article from the American Sun about this whole concept of, wow, if how great New York is, and this pizzazz and the ambiance and these aesthetics of how great New York City really is. And the article was trying to convey that my generation, the millennial generation, I'm 32 years old, we're looking at New York City of what it was when we were in our more malleable years, when we were teenagers, where we're like, wow, yeah, New York, it's so great. I remember my first times really going to. let me backtrack on that. My earliest memories in New York City, it was an absolute shithole. I was a little kid. There were squeegee people and graffiti all over the place. But that's a long, long time ago. And the article, going back to the article, New York was really cool when Giuliani and Bloomberg were in charge. So a lot of young women, bringing it back to Mgtow, saw Gossip Girls, Sex in the City, Audrey Hepburn, Breakfast at Tiffany's, these type of things. That is all from the mid-2000s. That's all post 9/11, the growth in the mid-2000s. That's what their perception is. What New York has been the past decade has been much more of a slow decline. The browning of New York City certainly has happened. It's ramped up the last 15, 20 years. And now put a nail in the coffin, bring in Black Lives Matter, bring in Mayor de Blasio, bring in Antifa. The money's not there. You have the brain drain. Again, people who were promised the BMW, the white-collar job, the 401k, the happy hours on rooftop nightclubs. That's just not happening anymore. You're not paying $20, $30, $40, $50 for a mixed drink. And you're getting... Basically what happens is that a lot of people that are, between 25 and 30, they'll get that mid-manager position, and the salary is between like $45 and $55, maybe $60,000. That's not enough. You're going to have a roommate. You're going to have to still be somewhat dependent on your parents. And going through the meat grinder, having that type of salary, on top of you getting older, where you're not really that interested in going out and drinking and partying it nearly as much anymore, people start to realize that, hey, you know what, this isn't worth it. I'm not getting that BMW. I'm not getting that six-figure salary, and most certainly not am I going to be able to afford a piece of real estate in these areas. So this has been a churning out situation for the past 20 years, where people graduate college, they come to New York City, they get their experience, and then they leave. And the cool thing about New York is once you get experience working in New York with all the rules, regulations, the behavioral sink, where you're competing with some very intelligent people, Ivy League, college educated. Again, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, because you're competing with some serious heavy hitters. You leave. It's not worth it. Okay. Again, it's the brain drain. And once you go to another city, let's say in Austin, Texas, you go to Kentucky, you go to St. Louis, you have a resume where you lived in New York for 4 to 5 years, and you had a job that is, where you're constantly going and moving, fast paced environment. They admire that. They admire that. I actually, when I went to North Carolina, I applied for a few jobs just to see what would happen. I think at the third phone call, guy calls me back saying, "When can you start?" I'm like, "Damn, that's really quick." I did that in New York, not happening because you're competing with so many other people. So the pizzazz, the dream, it's now coming to an abrupt end with a black guy trying to stab you in the streets.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. The dream is over, and some black guy's trying to stab you in the streets. Well, there was that black. She wasn't black. I guess she was Asian or something. A woman who put out a TikTok video says, "I'm going to stab you. I'm going to stab you." Then compare you to the paper cut. And she got fired from Deloitte, probably rightly so. There seems to be violence brewing down there, which is a problem. I was, reading off what happened, 50 some years ago, and we had violence in the streets of America. I don't remember that, but it happened then, and it happened for reasons of the trigger. The incepting event was police overreach, and that's what we see, today. There's mention about the guy who was selling cigarettes, and they just killed him. Right, he was selling single cigarettes. He had an IQ.
He had 5 kids.
He had 5.
And he's selling Lucy's.
And he's selling Lucy's. He has an IQ probably about 90 or something like that. So he's just trying to make it, and they kill him. It's great.
His own baby mama said he was lazy.
Yeah, lazy. Just that was going to be his life. Okay, so why in the hell kill him? Welcome to America. So if there's not a law against it, pretty soon there'll be a law requiring you to do it. So this is
again, it's a stress fracture situation that's happened in New York. The crime has been sanctioned by the state, by the city. It's quite okay. That's pretty dangerous.
As long as the crime's in one direction, right? From the Black Lives Matter out. Is this a city with gun controls, or is anyone allowed to follow the Constitution as it's written? Are people allowed legally to possess weapons and defend themselves?
It's really hard. In New York City, it's nearly impossible to get a pistol permit. It doesn't matter. I mean, criminals are still going to have guns.
Oh, that's right. Well, no, this is the disarming of good people and the arming of bad people, and that always ends in 2 things. It ends in police thinking that they're gods, and it ends in a lot more people getting hurt by other people because it's open season. It's open season on the disarmed. So this is just stupidity run rampant. This is government taking liberties it doesn't have. So
well, they're trying to turn New York City into Chicago.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's gonna. There's not nearly as many black people anymore in New York City as in comparison to Chicago. So I don't know how well that's going to pan out. Nor do I think the Hispanics are going to tolerate it. The Hispanic community is far stronger here than it would be in the Midwest. So I expect a lot of interracial violence between Puerto Ricans and Dominicans versus a bunch of black guys because they hate each other. Don't make me mistake about it. They can't stand each other. So once you get white flight pouring out of Harlem, the Bronx, there's only a handful of white people left in the Bronx, but I'm sure they're going to start running away too. Then you have the Russian factor in Brooklyn that's certainly not going to tolerate this. Again, it's very multi-ethnic New York. I've discussed this at IM that each town is segregated based on religion and ethnic background. There's Irish, Italian, there's Jews, there's blacks, there's Chinese. It's very you have to have a very kaleidoscopic view. The violence is now mostly segregated in the Bronx. The Bronx is a shithole. It is disgusting. I hate the Bronx. And then there's pockets in Brooklyn where the blacks seem to be quite pissed, and I kind of understand why they would be really mad in Brooklyn because that was kind of their neighborhood for the past 50 years, pushing the Italians out '60s and '70s. But yeah, they're really ramping it up in Brooklyn because they feel like they're being forced out through gentrification and through lucky China money. Now, as far as what the police are going to do about all this, I don't know where the police commissioner stands on all this. I think maybe he's taken some type of bribe. I think there's some type of gaffe. There's something going on underneath the radars where this guy is clearly not speaking out against Mayor de Blasio, which is it's bizarre. So now, if I'm a cop and that's my commissioner not fighting back against this fucking radical commie, I'm gonna retire or start looking for another job.
Who, de Blasio should retire?
Well, I'm talking about the commissioner. The
Oh, the
commissioner
commissioner should retire because he's not doing anything.
No. If I'm a police officer,
Oh, I see. Sorry.
I would want to retire early
Yeah.
and get out now rather than risk my life. And I think what the NYPD plans on doing is kind of do somewhat of a severance package and a payout to get these guys to retire sooner.
Yeah.
And just put a complete pause on hiring any new cops. Because, mind you, it is the biggest police force in the world.
Yeah, it is, and what we see is they need it because they've disarmed the people, and then they've, we talk about the blacks having dangerous areas. Well, this is a result of the social justice movement, as it were, the civil rights movement of the 1960s, where they destroyed the black American family and put the men out on the street because they couldn't live in the same house as the woman getting the check from the government. So he went out and started smoking pot. They put him in jail. And then there was, the cycle, the treadmill of violence and prison and street and the police were, arresting so many black people that they started to arrest the black people who weren't on this treadmill. And this is what we saw, I think, in the riots that started then, and it's continued my whole life. That we see the destruction of one whole community, and the Hispanics are probably not far behind, and the whites are not far behind. Nobody's safe. The Asians are not far behind. The police like to do this, and as I pointed out, reading the litany of overreaches in the 1967 riots of the police, violating, just on the face of it, the Constitution, blocking peaceful protests and arresting somebody wearing a sandwich board protesting a judicial decision. This is not America, so why are the police doing this? What do they think? And the same thing happens today, So nothing seems to have changed, and so this is manufacturing destabilization in America for some other reason, for some other purpose. It can't be stupidity, can it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, it can be stupidity.
You're breaking up. You're very choppy. Does anybody else hear that?
No, it's just you in the chat. Isn't that funny? Yeah, sorry, I was again talking about what happened in 1967, police overreach, and what happened was violence, and we're getting the same thing here. Let me see if I can adjust some bandwidths. I'm at my. I'm done. I really just have. Incoming video is done.
I changed Wi-Fi connection. See if that helps.
Yeah, I don't know. We've had this problem with some people, and it's hard for me to tell what it is. The audio's good in the chat. The audio's coming out good for both you and I in the chat. So I don't know what's going on.
All right, very well, no problem, man. We'll
get through it.
This.
Let's bring up a document, and we'll see where we go. We have a document called Black Lives Matter, and it gives the mission statement. I'll start with Black Lives Matter because that's the topic, and they have something called Campaign Zero, which has 10 points. And I'll put the first of the 10 points up on the screen right now. So we got 10 points in this Campaign Zero, Black Lives Matter. And you can see it on the screen now. Let me put the chat up. Why isn't the chat up? There we go. Sorry about that. So it says, and the first point is to end a broken windows policy, in which police aggressively charge minor crimes in order to stop larger ones. Like in New York, they did a stop and frisk. And so what they do with the stop and frisk is they hassle people. And, somebody walking down the street with a sandwich board, somebody selling single cigarettes. These are minor crimes, if they are even crimes. I don't know how selling single cigarettes on the street is a crime. I don't know how that's a crime. How's that a crime in America? Buying and selling stuff is a crime? For the love of God, it's not a crime, If there's a disturbing of the peace, then you got a crime. Buying and selling? Anyway, so what do you think about ending, you attack people for, maybe even victimless crimes in order to get big crimes? Do you think that should end?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Like stop and frisk, or, stuff like this. Should that end?
No, of course not. It brought crime rates to a grinding halt. If you go to, you can Google it. You can look at a crime map for the past 100 years in New York City. You'll see that crime has absolutely plummeted. And up until maybe the last 3 months, now it's just skyrocketing. And de Blasio base was given a golden key to the city after what was built the past 25 years, maybe more. I don't know how long it's been between Giuliani and Bloomberg for how much work they have done. And now de Blasio just wants to destroy it.
Who did the stop and frisk?
That was Bloomberg.
So, I remember New York actually a long time ago as such. The first time I was there was, 1985 or no, before that, before 1985. No, I was 15, so 78. I was there in 1978. And it was really at a bad point in 78. One's got to be honest about that. But soon after, it started to get good. And that was well before the stop and frisk. So the crime rate was almost at its high point back then. And it started to go down well before these aggressively policing of minor crimes. So while you may want to say, the stop and frisk by Bloomberg, it was, I'm not sure whether there's a cause and effect, because the crime started to go down well before that happened. In fact, New York got a lot better in the 80s, and then the 90s. It was great. And when I was there last, and in the early 2000s, it was a lot. It was a great city. It was still in 78, but it had problems. Somebody tried to sell me what was it, cocaine or heroin at Times Square. I was walking with my brother-in-law's mother down the street Sunday morning. Hey, you want to buy? I was 15. Anyway, so in terms of the stop and frisk and the policing of minor crimes, if it is connected with bringing down crime, well, maybe it's worth it. But if it's not, because crime's gone down across the country, and New York was only one of them.
I'm losing you.
Yeah, sorry. Crime has gone down. Violent crime went down dramatically in the 90s and 2000s in America without this aggressive policing like a stop and frisk. So, this to me, that you leave people alone to live their lives, and you only intervene if there's a victim as such. So, yeah, I don't know why I'm cutting in and out with you, Lamprey. I don't have a Skype account. Why don't we try Discord? Can you get into Discord?
Yeah, let's try Discord.
Let's try Discord. Sometimes Discord is
All right.
better.
Send me a thing.
Okay. let me get in here right now, and we'll get into Discord. Okay. You're already in, Lamprey. All you got to do is go to my server.
Okie dokie.
But you're already in.
Okie dokie. Not a problem, sir. Please hold.
Yeah. And I'll be in.
Voice channels.
Yeah, broadcast 1. There, I think I'm in. Am I in? Yeah, I guess I'm in. And let me.
Yeah, got it. Join voice.
Let me turn off the Hangouts there, and I'll get out of the Hangout. There, I'm out of the Hangout. Okay, so I'm in Discord now. I wonder if we're coming out live. And Lamprey Milt's going to join us, and here he is. Sorry, it says I'm disconnected. Let me try to get back in. Let me get back in. Here we go. Voice connected. I'm connected again. Are we there?
Yes. Testing 1 2. Let me hear you.
There we go. I'm testing 1 2 3. No, it didn't seem to work. What are they doing to us? This used to work great, I got to say. Yeah, the Milt was just in briefly, and there was some problem. And I'm jumping back in again, and there we are. Let's try it again.
All right, let's try this now.
Okay, there we go. Voice connected. I had a disconnected notice, but we're back. And I think you're coming in. And we'll check in the... there we go. Both. We're in there. Sorry about that. I was just saying, well, back, New York City was getting better before, the stop and frisk thing. And the general crime rate across the United States has gone down without things like stop and frisk. So, I'm wondering whether it's good to hassle people with minor things that are not really crimes. Ooh, I'm getting silence here. I think Lamprey had to go get the door or something. I think I heard something in the background.
Dang. I'm trying to see if it's mine. I have.
Hey, well, we'll see here. Hold on, let's get somebody in to do a test. Hey, MM, why don't you jump in the Discord and do a test here and find out whether it's me, whether it's Lamprey, or whether it's you, or whether it's all of us. And so, if you want to jump in, Monk Music.
Yeah, I have 5G, I have 2G, I have a business Wi-Fi connection. You're coming in on all of them the same, including my 4G connect.
Wow. I got no idea what I got. I got like a cable coming into the house. And again, I'm not sure what the situation is. We've got somebody coming in for a test and for a discussion. No reason to leave. You're here, MM?
All right.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Just can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but I am getting an echo. Let me turn off the desktop audio in my OBS. How's that?
I can't hear you on my computer.
Oh, you can't hear me, but you can hear me over the...
I can hear you now, yeah. I can hear you on my computer, but you're very... I'm like a piano. Clunky clunky.
He's a
Hello.
clunky clunk.
Yeah, kalunk.
Kalunk?
See, I hear you fine. It's
Sweet
values.
Kalunk.
You got herpes on your line. You got to catch
Yeah.
better raise values.
I don't know what it is. Let me.
Of Eastern Province. Speak to you, Lamprey.
Okay. What about this? Am I getting any better now? Am I getting any better?
You're cutting off real sharp.
Real sharp.
The decay.
Yep.
Okay.
There's
What
no
about
decay
this?
on your microphone. It's just
Yeah. What
a
about
red
this?
signal.
Is it better? Is it better? I'm doing input sensitivity test. Is it better now?
Oh, you sound a little bit better now. A little
Oh,
bit.
okay. There we go.
Sound
Well,
better.
there we go. Well, I'll take it right off and see what happens. And,
Keep talking. Keep talking.
Okay, I'm going to keep on talking. I've removed the echo cancellation. I've just now
My
removed.
first new friends from New York.
Very good.
You sound. Wait.
What?
Fuck,
There's
man.
a
I
crappy
don't know.
mic on the laptop. Excuse me.
Yeah.
So dive in. I'm doing some studying early.
Well, maybe I'll
4:15 in the
change
morning.
my.
You're from England.
Yeah. Maybe I'll change my my microphone. How's
England.
this? Is this better?
You've got the stop lighting a cigarette.
There you go.
What part of England are you from?
The
You
north,
sound like you're from the south. You're from the
Actually-
north. Shit.
from the north, yes.
You're from Yorkshire.
How dare you? I'm from the proper north. Not
Sorry.
this bullshit York. Ooh.
You're from God's country, man.
It's all God's
Lancashire.
country. It's all God's country.
Lancashire. For north. None of this.
Friend, I have a really good.
You can't have everything. Feels a
And,
great. Feels a great.
I had a boss from Oxford. He was a.
It's a southerner, you see.
Hold on.
A friend of mine is quite high up in Oxfordshire County Council. Anyway, I don't want to interrupt the stream.
Well, no, you're not interrupting at
Oh,
all.
you
Can anyone hear me?
can hear you. You stop a bit quick, that's all, Values.
Okay, well, I just changed my microphone to a different microphone. How's that working out?
That's fine.
Oh, okay. Anyway, we had the Black Lives Matter, and there may be some benefit in getting, aggressively pursuing what they call minor crimes. I tend to think that it's wrong. But number 2 on the Campaign Zero is use community oversight for misconduct, which means that you have an independent person, at least one, to say what punishment should happen. And this is in line with number 4. So this is best practice in terms of a governance system, that you have independent people, looking at oversight situations. What do you think about numbers 2 and 4 on the BLM Campaign Zero?
Actually, I haven't got it up on screen. I'll jump out in a minute.
I think
There, Lamprey.
I've lost Milt. I can't hear anything he's saying if he is talking.
We're speaking.
I can't hear him.
Right, well, just before I jump, I'm listening to you while I'm studying, and I don't want to get in the way.
Yeah,
In
no.
the early 80s, early 1980s, we had called the SUS laws in London.
Okay.
Kept stopping and searching these blacks. Anyway, a few weeks later, a few months into it, we had a Summer of Love Brixton riots. Now there's coincidence. Would have thought that stopping somebody who's ethnic minority just because black, to see if they were doing anything wrong, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
See, that's what I
And
think.
if you look back, if you look into it, so that you've got your stop and frisk, we had stop and search, we still got it. Now it does drop crime, it's putting people off. Like you say, if you're selling a cigarette, that's commerce. Taking drugs, well, it's your body.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nonsense. If you're going to do that, you should be arresting fat people.
Oh my
They're
God.
costing health services a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm not joking.
I know.
10% of the British of our national health budget goes on diabetic and obesity. It's not. It should be arrested for damaging the health and wasting people's time. If people smoking dope, which does no harm, being arrested, it's a nonsense. Anyway, I'll jump out because it's great listening to. It's great to hear somebody from New York.
There you go.
I'd love to talk to the guy, but
I'm wondering whether I can hear him. I
I'll
can't hear Lamprey Milt. Let me try to get out and jump back in again.
I'll get out. I'll speak to you later.
Okay, thanks, Monk Music, for coming in, testing it out. I'm not sure.
No worries, anytime.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you
later.
now. See you later, Monk Music. Yep, I can hear you now, Lamprey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not too sure. I think it just sounds really choppy. Just keep testing it.
Yeah, okay. I went back to my other microphone, but anyway, I have the screen up there, and I was asking about numbers 2 and 4.
Okay.
Which is having independent oversight for misconduct. And this has been an issue. I remember this issue coming up in the 1980s, to tell you the truth, at least in Canada. And the police did not go for it in the 1980s in Canada. So, anyway, wherever I see independent oversight, I'm in favor of it, because it adds to the strength of any governance system.
You're coming in choppy, man.
Yeah. What do you think about?
We're gonna have to probably. Let's try this. We'll try this again tomorrow night. All right.
Okay then. Yep. We're gonna have to end it here,
man.
and I'll just finish this off and put the other slide up on this one.
Just shoot me a text on Hangouts or Discord.
Yeah. Okay.
When you're finished.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, Lamprey Milt had to jump out because we're having technical issues, and this is not a good thing to have happen. Technical issues are never good. Anyway, I'll just finish up with this campaign 0. I think it's a no-brainer, and although you may think that stop and frisk lowered crime, and indeed it may have, but it was admitted that it was racial stereotyping, but it seems to be anti-constitutional and just not good. You always needed, I thought, a reasonable cause to interfere with someone's life. If you have no reasonable cause other than, I just want to stop you, then we have a problem. So numbers 2 and 4 are just independent oversight, and that's just best practice. So that's absolutely reasonable. Number 3 is to make standards for reporting police use of deadly force. So in reporting, you have reporting standards. Well, that's absolutely reasonable. Whatever they are, and you have to agree to the standards, but they're standards, so you have to say the truth. And if it's a lie, then the people should be fired. I remember the Rodney King case. The police lied about what happened, and then they were allowed to rewrite their report. Well, that's absolutely inappropriate, not even relatively inappropriate. Employees don't lie to employers and then get to recant their lies. No, the lies are permanent, and you're fired. Anyway, number 5 here from the Campaign 0 of Black Lives Matter is have the racial makeup of police departments reflect the communities. Oh my. Well, that just makes sense. I don't know. You know, reflecting doesn't mean absolutely one way or the other, and again, the timing might be different. More people suddenly move in. Well, it may take some time to get the sense of the place and to bring people in at the right speed or whatever. Immigrants from other countries can't be expected to take over police departments suddenly, no. Then number 6 to 10 here on the Campaign Zero, 10 points by Black Lives Matter. Require officers to wear body cameras. This is, yeah, absolutely. And this happens in a lot of places already, so okay. And I've seen good stuff from it, but in both directions. This is good for the police. It's good for everyone. It's good. Provide more training for police officers. Number 7, obviously, that's good. End for-profit policing practices. Yeah. Things like civil forfeiture, things like for-profit prisons. All of this is ended. Definitely, number 8 is a no-brainer. I think there should be no one profiting from crime. I thought that was a principle. Wasn't that a principle? Am I confusing? No one should profit from crime. Isn't that like a principle? I thought that was a principle. Anyway, for-profit policing practices. End of story. Revenue collection has to end. End the police use of military equipment. Again, this is, I think so too, Mgtow Smurf. This is just reasonable. People on the right and on the left, everyone is saying the militarized police has to end. They're not military. Wherever I am, I want to see Leave It to Beaver police. Okay, they walk around. Okay, they're armed. They're armed, but they're not looking like an invasionary force, right? And they don't have that. They can't bring an invasionary force to bear on the populace. They can't. If you want an invasionary force, invade. Holy shit. Anyway, that's number 9. I think that's eminently reasonable. And implement police union contracts that hold officers accountable for misconduct. So if a police officer does misconduct, the police union can it can sit on both sides of the fence on this. It can support the police officer with everything, and then when the police officer is found guilty, it can remain silent. And this is like a double standard. So the police union itself has to become involved in police misconduct and taking accountability for it. And so it's got to ensure that the police union recognizes that if its members commit a transgression, that the police union itself is going to do something to stop it, or the police union is going to be held responsible. So there's a line of accountability going into the police union itself.
Auto shutdown initiated.
So this is, this is eminently reasonable as well, because it just takes the line of accountability, everywhere that it should be. And so I'm wondering about the Black Lives Matter, because ultimately their mission statement is very weird and socialistic, but these 10 points are eminently reasonable. And this is what I was talking about, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, when I said that there's 2 tracks here. That the demoralization of the majority of people come from most people agreeing with most of these recommendations, and yet they see Black Lives Matter out on the street doing all this crazy stuff. So I don't know what's happening. To tell you the truth, I think this is destabilization. On the one hand, you got people who are dehistoricizing the community. They are removing the individual destinies of people by making them only representars of a race or a class with this intersectional radicalism. And they are destroying the possession of property, whether the property is private property. They're destroying statues, and then intellectual property where you cannot think independently, or they'll cancel you. They'll call you all sorts of names and get you fired from your jobs, even on the one little slip up or something. And so we've got a war against America. And on the one hand, you see this radicalism of a gross destruction. And on the other side, you see them posting 10 reasonable points that say, yeah, we just need better accountability. Well, this is reasonable. Property is theft. Holy shit. Who do we have? Proudhon. No. What's his name? Potemkin. Wasn't it Potemkin? The Russian anarchist. Property is theft. My God. Yeah, I agree, Mgtow Smurf. I think that the Democrat Party is running a very strange election campaign. They developed a hoax. That didn't work. They developed another hoax. That didn't work. So they developed the COVID-19 hoax. And then they thought they'd throw in a little bit of rioting on top. And when Trump is reelected, which he likely will be, it's just going to continue, isn't it? It's going to continue. So, hey, I see a problem in the in number 9. Notice that the word armor is underlined. I think that's the British spelling. What in the hell are they doing with British spelling in an American document? Ooh, I think we've got some international conspiracy happening here. Big guns and body armor. Yes, but that armor is spelt with the British spelling. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, Pierre Joseph Proudhon. Yeah. Property theft. So yeah, maybe they're doing that. Maybe that's what they want is a Marxist paradise. Yeah. Yes, it is a Latin word among music, but the OU, that's French. So apparently, the OUs, the OR, like an armor or behavior or whatever, it went across the pond first, and then it went up, and then the OU went from France into English after the English had left England for America. And so the OU is French. Oui. Yeah. No, it's not Webster. It's the French. The French came up. Paris was the capital of intelligentsia in 1789. You could speak freely in Paris for some time, then you couldn't. And the same thing happened in Washington. You could speak freely at some time, now you can't. So I guess what goes around comes around. And so this is the demoralization. And here I think we have a great example of it. On the one hand, they're nuts. What are they doing? They're nuts on the streets, and at the same time, they're putting this out, and people are agreeing with this, so they're letting that happen. This is diabolical. This is what I think I said, the bifurcation of the attack. So this is nasty stuff, and in all of this, what we're seeing is. Again, we can look at this, and we can look at this, and this is not good. This top chart here is not good. So we have the number of people killed by law enforcement per 10 million. So this is a rate. So it's already, it's not an absolute number. It's a rate per 10 million, and we got 33 per 10 million. It's not an extraordinarily high number. Okay. But look at the difference between Canada, between the top one, 33, apparently, at least in this study, and Canada, which is the next highest. Canada is atrociously high compared to, say, England, which is 0.05, and Canada is like at 10. What? That's 20 times. You're as likely to get killed by cops in Canada than in England. Oh, my God. And then you're 3 and a bit times as likely to get killed by law enforcement in the States than is in Canada. That's like, does anyone not see that's an issue? Like, that's a wickedly high number per 10 million compared to the rest. Japan is 0.02. I've been to Japan, and it's just different there. You're safe. You feel safe. And Singapore, I looked it up, and it was 3 deaths by law enforcement in 15 years. That's 1 in every 5 years. So we're looking real low there too. So what's going on? And again, I'm going to point back to the civil rights movement and the giving of money to black women to have babies. If they throw black men out of the homes, which they did, they go out on the street, they smoke dope, they get in this cycle, and then the cops start to pick on them, and then they riot. And apparently there was 5 million Southern American blacks who moved north between 1945 and say 1970, changing the demographics. They moved into ghettos, as did everyone else. Italian ghettos, Jamaican ghettos in Toronto even. They're nice places. And, they get a little bit of money and they move out. Everyone does that. And the houses get nicer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so, but, they were protesting and because they were getting picked on by the police. And, horrible trials. You look up that Lasky trial, and it was bad. If anyone got convicted on that today, there'd be an outcry. I mean, an outcry, and rightly so. And his cousin goes out there with a sandwich board, and suddenly, the police are down on him. This is bad. This is bad. This starts riots, and it started riots back in '67, and it's starting riots today. I can put back up the list of stuff there. And, each of them here, every one that I found had a police inception. And we want to remember that, the Hatfields and the McCoys, right? That was started by a judge. In the trial, apparently, I wasn't there to see it personally, but apparently, the judge was a Hatfield or a McCoy, and he wouldn't recuse himself. And so when he decided against the other side, they got into a feud which lasted, a long time. It killed a lot of people. And why? Because of a corrupt judge. And that's what we're seeing. This is manufactured destabilization. The government gets power. It gets too much power. And that's why you need independent oversight. But I don't think that's happening here. What I see happening is we have a 2-track scheme. One, to help demoralize the population by giving out reasonable requests at the same time that they're ripping down statues, calling out white supremacy and fomenting, the destruction of history. And some people don't like that. And, there's one quote from this guy, and I'll put out the link. I think it's a good article. And I recommend people read it. I don't know the guy who wrote it, David, what's his name? David Solway. And, he has a great word for the destruction of history.
Powering off.
He calls it a chronoscomy. Chronescomy. You just cut out the time. You cut out the time. So these people are living without a history. They're living without knowledge of their history. And there was a recent article by Campus Reform or something. Young people have no idea when the War of Revolution was, and when the War of Independence, the Independence Revolution was, 1776. And they don't know when the Civil War was, 1861 to 65, something like that. Then, just no idea at all. They don't know. And, I think David Solway asked a very, penetrating question. And again, this is part of the problem, that these men of the South, whose statues are there, they were more than just, living in a slave society. No, there was more happening down there. Slavery was not a big issue for these people. It went, mostly unnoticed for most people's lives. And then suddenly it came up, and you put it down and say it's a whatever. But is slavery an original sin for which there is no redemption? And if that be the case, then a lot of people are not going to be redeemed, because, in my knowledge, England was not a slave place until it found Africa and started buying slaves from Africa. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think that Obviously, if they could, when the Angles and the Saxons poured in, they beat up the Celts and probably took the women and enslaved some men, and then when the Vikings came over, they probably did the same, but it soon petered out. It didn't last very long, and those were brutal days back in the 500s and then the 900s. So, but all in all, they were brutal times. You think about Genghis Khan pouring across Asia and turning Baghdad streets into rivers of blood, and then on and on. It was still brutal and nasty. It wasn't. It was getting better though. It was getting better, and then we arrived at the pinnacle, whenever that was, and then it started to. People forgot. People forgot how hard people worked to put away the divisions, and just to say, that was back then. Now it's not. We think differently today, and we can justify our thoughts. No man should ever be a slave. Must never be a slave of another man. That is the end of story. That is the disposability of men, and it's going to stop. And I think a lot of people think like this, that we are going to stop the disposability of men, and part of this is slavery, and it stopped. And it stopped in large part thanks to Americans up in the north of America. And in England, it stopped there early. And these people said, no, it's wrong, we're going to stop it. And it wasn't like England was a great slave place. Slavery was legal in some countries. In my lifetime, Mauritania comes to mind. Legal, accepted, socially accepted and legal, unpunishable to keep a slave in Mauritania in my lifetime. And other countries had slavery, and America was one of the first to end it, saying it's wrong, it's bad, and maybe they had to have a war to do it, and but they did it. So. Oh, for God's sakes, Conan Doyle, Sir Arthur, Sir, means he was knighted by the Queen or something. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle refers to heroin use. Yeah, he does. Heroin use, cocaine. I think that song came from, Sherlock Holmes, Da 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 da. It's elementary, my dear. Da 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 da. Cocaine. It's elementary, my dear. Da 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 da. It's elementary. Yeah, Sherlock Holmes was a big druggie. Yeah, and he recognizes that. Yeah, it's one of his. What do you call it? Guilty pleasures. We all have guilty pleasures, and we're allowed to. Life is supposed to be enjoyed, and so during this lockdown, which is government overreach, during the demoralization of the community due to the insanity you see in the streets and the rationality you see justifying it. And, this has been going on my whole life. And, I look at what happened in the 67 riots, and I say, those guys should have been fired. What the hell's wrong with Americans? Look what they're doing to the whole West. They're supposed to be the leader of the free world. And, Americans are in your face, and they should be, and you like it, sort of. That they demand to get what they want, and if they don't, they complain loudly. But what they're getting is people ripping people off the street with sandwich boards. In 1967, they weren't fired, and they started riots. And now, 50-some years later, we see the same thing. Yeah. They never beat me, monk music, when I was in India. They never beat me. But, then again, I don't think I ever gave them cause. But they have to. My God, there's just so many people there. India's extremely crowded where it's crowded. But again, you travel on the train, and it's like endless nothingness. Maybe fields, I guess. But sometimes not, just endless. You go forever, and then you come into some incredibly crowded city. And then you go out again. Yeah, but there's a lot of people in those cities. It can be very crowded. I got no idea what they're doing there. It's a different civilization. They think differently. You know, the universe comes out of the belly button of Vishnu. Say no more, right? Say no more. And, time is circular. Okay. That's how we can virtualize reality and not become, authentically committed to our actions. It's just a game. It's just Leela. And not Lilu from the movie The Fifth Element. Leela. But again, you gotta do a lot of reading to even, sort of get close to what it is there. I'm not saying I have, but I'm closer than most. I did my several hundred hours courses. Oh my God, reading and that, and very great stuff. Attending great lectures, no question. Anyway, yeah, we have wage slaves, and do not be a wage slave. Maybe you have to be a wage slave momentarily, but be the wage slave. Get some new skills. Move up. Escape. You got to make your plan to escape. You got to do it, and no escape may be permanent. This plantation is nasty. All life needs resources to live, and if you can retire early, do it, and then go out and get a job. Because what in the hell is sitting around for unless you're doing something productive? Write a book, write in some music, write a play, write a movie, doesn't matter. Do something great. Help people, whatever it is. Go to India and become enlightened. Okay, whatever. So, have a plan and learn a new skill. Retire and learn a new skill, have a new life. In fact, I've had a number of different lives, I have to say. And in my, relatively short life, longer than some, shorter than others, so far. But, worked in industry, got my hands dirty in industry, and, traveled the world. Was a salesman in a store, in a band, traveling across the country. These are all different lives. They seem like they were lives. They went out for a long time. And, 10 years of university. And then, an instructor, other things. My God. It's like, I've retired many times and reconstituted myself. Retired and reconstituted. Yeah, Vientiane didn't last very long. Steve Hoka for mayor in Cambodia. He did not last long. Which is a shame. I could have popped over to Cambodia and met him there, but I can deal with Cambodia. It's different being there, and you gotta. There's certain benefits and there's certain things you gotta leave off, just not expect. And so, that's it. So. But those who like it, just like it a lot, and those who have no international experience in third world countries, they might have some trouble. I gotta say, I've traveled around about 15 third world countries, and each one is challenging in its own way. And once you accept the challenge, and again, the first couple, you're freaked out. There's no question. But then again, apparently now you're walking around American cities and you feel like you're in a third world country. It's cyberpunk because there's great wealth right there, and it's old wealth, and it's lost. What were the best three? I gotta say, Thailand, India. And oddly enough, I like the Dominican Republic. I like Santo Domingo. I didn't mind the soldiers on the streets with the automatic weapons. They were looking pretty young, maybe 19 or 18 or something. But I don't know why they were there. There didn't appear to be trouble before I arrived. I forget which country I arrived from, but India is just so great, and Thailand is just an adult playground. No question. So, but there's many of them, and they're third world countries. I don't know. There's fewer today than there were. The technology is getting easier. Yeah, you can move anywhere if you're a teacher. Get a teaching certificate, English as a foreign language or something, English as a second language, a CELTA, something like that. Then you're in. And I got to say, taking a CELTA is an eye-opener. I took one, and it was very interesting. I learned stuff, and I was a pretty good teacher before I began. I couldn't use all of it because all of it was not applicable to what I was doing. I was doing academic English, but it helped me even there, I got to say. And so academic English is a different ball game. You cannot make an error. An error. A error. You can't do that. You can't say error. Error. I can't even say it, right? So I'm not sure what New York certified. If that's for a teacher, that's fine, but that can be useful. But if you want to do English, which is the main thing, an easy thing to get into, then you'll need a separate English instruction certification. And having a teaching certificate's fine, but oh yeah, definitely. Teaching is about communication. But where does the communication take place? I agree it's about communication, but I believe it's communication within the brains of the students, and that the instructor is merely to facilitate the communication inside the brains of the students. Ooh. And so I suppose, the instructor sometimes has to communicate to one part of the student's brain in order that student's brain communicate with another part of the student's brain to enable the student to gain control of the information. And so, I heard somebody, in fact, that article by David Solway referred to John Dewey as a communist, but I don't think he was. He was an American pragmatist, and I think he took it from putting student-centered learning. But again, I think he missed the point at what John Dewey was talking about when he would say that. John Dewey has a philosophy of education, the only one I can find, in that you learn so as to enable you to live better. So what you learn is supposed to help you live, and that by looking at the student, what will help that student live better? What will help that student live better? And so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. And so that's what John Dewey was talking about, student-centered, not allowing students to run rampant and do whatever they want. Although sometimes that's precisely what should happen. So, in America they're dumbed down, let's face it. And I think the recent stuff about, Americans having no historical understanding, not understanding that slavery was not a big part of everyone's life back then, and it just wasn't. Maybe it should have been, but it wasn't. That there are greater things happening in the South than slavery. And that while slaves did contribute, and, unfortunately so, to the building, it wasn't only them, and it wasn't mostly them. So they were a part, and maybe a substantial part, but not a major part. So, there's more happening. And what happened with the Civil War was, partly about slavery, but it was partly about other things. And you look at the Corbin Amendment, and you see, it really wasn't about slavery, was it now? There was something else happening, and, economic slavery of the South by the North. I think that was probably a big part of it. Oh, nice. Nice, Craig Cook. Now I'm friggin' hungry. What am I going to do? I'm going to go order something. That's it. Yeah. Well, you see, that's it. And the north of Britain grew massively without slaves. And how did it grow? Well, it grew up on the basis of an empire, and the empire took over territory that was being, mismanaged and brought it all together. I don't know what India wants. Or they want to go back to pre-Raj times. Go for it. Go for it. No one's stopping you. And so that, whatever happens, Pakistan wanted to be its own country. Okay. Bangladesh wants to be its own country. Okay. Do what you want to. You want to do it in a war? That's your choice now. You're free. You're free. Get your smartest people, and if they want to start a war, well, what can we say? You're free. That's the thing about anti-colonialism. Were you ready for it? Well, I don't think that the Congo was. I think that was a mistake. I think Belgium blew it. In other cases, I don't. I think sometimes it was a good handoff. I think any handoff from the Spanish as colonial rulers was better. But, and so the invention was up there. Who was it? So many of them. Adam Smith, wasn't he from the north? Anyway, David Hume was certainly from the north, and he was so far north England, he was Scottish. And he was a great one. Adam Smith, my God, these guys, and what came from that. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Babbage was in the 1800s. And you got to give the guy credit, right? That was pretty good for the late 1800s. No, I don't, Craig Cook. I don't see the changes. Sorry. I see demoralization. I see demoralization by the majority because the demands are reasonable and you can't go against them. Better accountability for police? Sure. But why in the hell are you ripping down these statues? Why all these autonomous zones? Why all this violence? Why all this cancel culture? All lives matter. You get shut down. What? And you look at the statistic, that I put up, and maybe I'll put it up again here. That top number, that 33.5 per 10 million kills by the cops. That's not all black people, and so it's white people are getting killed by the cops in crazy numbers in America. What's going on? That's like a fucking war zone. Stop it. Stop the violence. And most of that's men. You're right? You know that. It's all men. And men don't feel safe going out. Men and you add this to the suicides, to the living on the street, to the running away through alcohol and fentanyl and all of this stuff. You add it together, and this is the disposability of men. And stop it. And this is part of the problem. Mgtow doesn't want to see the disposability of men, but neither do they want the destruction of the community, a radical destruction and a replacement with, cultural Marxism or Marxism proper, an ahistorical, technocracy and medical tyranny. Nobody wants any of this in Mgtow, as far as I know. Maybe there will be an inevitable movement towards an integration of more technology and better technology into humans. We've already done it. Watches and glasses. All of this is turning us into cyborgs. Okay, we're all seemingly happy with that. But as to, tracking our every movement and reading our thoughts and putting in RFID chips with governments that have such horrible accountability and responsibility mechanisms, and they refuse after my whole lifetime of people telling them stop the violence, and they don't. They further militarize. Their budgets are going up and up and up and up. So this is part of the demoralization. Black Lives Matter, well, they make reasonable demands. Okay, yeah, they're a little bit radical on the edge. So we'll have to see. The election doesn't go well. Who knows what's going to happen? Trump, if he wants to return America to the tyranny that it was in, I don't know. But the police are going to have to do something. They're going to have to, open themselves up to independent oversight. And that's it. Put down the systems. Some guy gets a disciplinary action. It's on the webpage. Everyone can see it. The guy's got to own up to it. Is redemption possible? Yes, redemption is possible. But, anyway. Yeah, when you can grow and make your own food, you're living the high life. That's it exactly. I just planted some spinach yesterday, so we'll see how that comes up. Normally comes up great. So, but it's something to try to do it, to try to grow your own food. But yeah, they have to relinquish control, and those two words are anathema. They are anathema, absolutely against what the government wants to do. Any arm of the government. The military, the police, the executive, the judiciary, whatever. Relinquish control. Apparently, the only way to do that is revolution. So that's what the choice is. And what do we see on the street? We see a revolution as an election campaign strategy. Hey, let's bring in COVID-19, destroy the economy, and then we'll start a revolution. And then Trump won't get reelected, and then we can bring back the swamp. So, yeah. Yeah, nobody killed. 279 police officers injured, 45 public injured. Yeah. Govern does not mean control. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah. In fact, you look at the oath of Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth II, which was the oath that her father took, and her father changed the oath from what it had been for about 120 years back to what it had been for like 600 years, back to the 1300 recension of the oath. And that one admitted what King Albert, before William took over the island, what he had done, and what William, upon taking the oath, said, that he's going to govern according to the laws of the people. So you read the oath, you listen to the oath. Govern according to the laws of the people. And so it's not the laws of Parliament, it's not the laws of the king. This is the Anglo-Saxon way. And again, if the people are thinking that selling loose cigarettes on the street is unlawful, well, then arrest them. But I don't think most people do. Not causing a disturbance, I don't care. And what about the guy running the store trying to sell cigarettes? Well, why would he care? He provides a different service to a different market. Oh, he's got to pay taxes. Well, that's his fucking problem. Why the fuck does he have to pay taxes? Everyone's got to pay taxes on whatever they buy, I guess. You put it on whatever you buy, and then you resell it, and you make what you can. This is what they agreed to in the Magna Carta. They didn't agree to income tax. They didn't agree to property tax. They didn't agree to any of this. So I don't know what Americans agreed to with with the Revolution and the Constitution, but I don't think they agreed that you can't stand on the street and say what you think, as long as you're not causing a disturbance. And if somebody is seeming to block the way, you just ask them nicely. You don't have to arrest them. That's the last thing you want to do. And we can re-put up again Robert Peel's 9 Principles of Policing. This is eminently reasonable. And you align these with at least some of the Black Lives Matters, Campaign Zero, and you've got the demoralization. They put this out, everyone agrees with it, and then you see them, acting extreme on the streets. Well, maybe that's just making people say, well, I'll go for the reasonable. I'll go for the reasonable, and I won't take the extreme. Right? And so that's the thing about Mgtow. Mgtow maybe was extreme at one point, but now it's reasonable, and the extremes are the black pills or the incels or something, and Mgtow is going mainstream because only an idiot would find fault with it. It's absolutely, eminently reasonable. And so maybe that's what this has been the case. Feminism was the same thing. The first feminists were reasonable, but they seemed extreme. But looking back, now it seems reasonable, right? Give us the right to vote. But now we know that that has repercussions. But I think repercussions as to the Sir Robert Peel's 9 principles of policing is that we don't have riots. I think the repercussions of having independent oversight is that nobody can be, outwardly too corrupt. And so this is what we're seeing. We're seeing a variety of what starts out as unreasonable and appears to go reasonable. So, yeah. I don't know who you're referring to, Eggy Noggy. I don't see any comment by Shut Dado. I don't see Shut Dado. Who in the hell is... Oh, Shut Dado. Oh, hold it. We got Shut Dado. Oh, God. Yeah, so why say you would have to be stupid to not go Mgtow? Oh, okay. Sorry. I missed that. Welcome, Shut Dado. There are arguments against Mgtow. No, there's not. Absolutely not. You would have to be stupid to not go Mgtow. Yes, you would. Why? Because you are having a negative value stream. So if you invest $1 and somebody agrees to pay you 50 cents in 5 years, you'd be a fool to take it. I mean, you'd be stupid to take it. And if there's 10 people and, out of 10 people, one of them gets a payoff of $2 and everyone else gets 10 cents, you'd be a fool to take that. So that's a negative present value of a future stream of benefits. And so if you take a negative present value of a future stream of benefits, you are stupid. That's it. You don't win. You don't win. Now you can go to Vegas and the odds are so close in a couple of games, craps and in blackjack, that if you run a little streak of luck, you can sort of make some money and have some fun, but you're playing really close to the wire, and you'd be a fool to invest anything more than a couple of $100 for an evening's entertainment, right? And you might come out with a lot, but probably you'll lose it. Most people do, and maybe you got a few free drinks and some good chat with some people. But no, we're not talking about that with losing. So no, there are no arguments against Mgtow. In Mgtow, it's very clear. There's a cost-benefit analysis and a risk-reward analysis. Both of them point to a negative value now. So again, this is what it's about. There's a negative value, I think, in going out and protesting when you're protesting for something that disposes of men. Now, if you're protesting in order to maintain freedom for men, we'll do that. Smurf's here. Smurf was here just a minute ago. He'll be back. So I do not identify as Mgtow. I don't know what that means. That's not the question. Are you Mgtow, whether you identify as Mgtow or not? It doesn't matter. There is an intersubjective truth of the matter. If 10 people look at you and say, you're tall, and you say, well, I identify as short, well, it don't really matter. You're tall. That's just what it means. So I don't know what I don't identify as means, to tell you the truth. So are you Mgtow? That's the question. Evolve? Holy shit, we're not talking about evolving. We're talking about staying out of jail. We're talking about staying off the streets. Evolve? This is a war. Look at the destruction. 50,000 men a day in the West are having their lives ruined. And, some more, are getting out easy, and some, But no, we're evolving. This isn't a long-term plan. This is a holding situation until you find out the way to go. And evolving, I don't know what that means. Getting better? Well, yeah, you want to get better if you want to get better. You know, the only reason for hanging around women is to have kids. And ultimately, you don't even have the kids now because she takes them and the government takes them. So, and even if she didn't take them, the government would take them. Look what's happening in Canada, you know. Horrible. The judge says, no, I'm going to let your daughter turn into a boy, or I'm going to let your boy turn into a girl, and shut the fuck up at 14. You don't have any children anymore with the government like this. There's no evolution. You know, you're a cog in the wheel of the government. Who in the hell wants to fight for this? Evolve? No. No, there's no evolution. There's just stay out of it and then go in the direction you want. You know, if you want to have kids, there's surrogacy, there's adoption, there's probably already I saw, in fact, an article today. Who was it? Paul Joseph Watson or somebody on Zero Hedge? Let me see if I can get it. And about artificial wombs. My God, it's I forget where I read it, but somebody was talking about it, and you know, it was sort of interesting. You know, it's making mainstream and it's out there. You know, people are talking about doing it with goats. You know, artificial wombs for goats. You know, they're doing it. So humans is next, or it's already. So there's that. There's other countries. You know, if that's what you want in your life. You know, you got to plan. You got to be smart. You got to have money. So, giving up? No. Men on Mgtow are not giving up. They're giving up on the lie. That's it, right there. They're giving up on the lie. No, they're being smart. Mgtow men get what they want. Now, it may take some while. They got to back off. They got to calm down. They got to think about things. They got to find out what is going to give them a good return, and then go for it. And not everything is equal for every man. And that's part of the problem with Mgtow. Mgtow can't say you got to do this or you got to do that. You know, nobody knows. I don't know what all the men in the chat here want. I know some of them. But each man has to choose his own way. It's not a giving up. It's what should I do now? Well, I got a challenge. And how long am I going to work at it? Well, if first you don't succeed, try again. But at some point, maybe you try something new. And so you go for it. You try a new skill. You get a new job. You get a second job. You make some money. You go on a trip. You buy a sailboat. You sail around the world. You write a book. You climb a mountain. You participate in a group to accomplish some task. But what you don't do is invite the government into your life to destroy you, and the surest way to do that is to have a woman in your bedroom. That is the final answer to allowing the government to come in and destroy you. And each of us can take some stress. Each of us can take some push and being beaten down, and some more than others. I'm amazed at what I hear other men have gone through. I couldn't do it. I left. Women are not passable. Women are dangerous. And as I was saying with Monk Music just the other day, women are not evil, they're just dangerous. And they don't know they're dangerous. That's what makes it worse. That's what makes it worse. They don't know that they're going to pick up the phone in 5 years and defect on your marriage and take you for everything you got. They don't know it. And so that's what makes them so dangerous. So you can't do it. And it's not that all women will. We all know all women, we don't know what all women will do. In fact, the statistics say that not all women don't. It's about 20% who get married that wind up, living out their years. And the men are, some of them at least are pretty happy and having a good, there's ups and downs and there's bullshit. But, the woman is not going to defect. Okay. and the kids are raised or whatever, and the savings are done, and death overtakes everyone, and there's that life. Okay, that's a traditional dream, and in the past maybe a large number got it and more or less happy at the end, but not living on the street, not in jail, not trying to pay alimony that no man can pay. Yeah. There's no way. Yeah, women are government agents. They're just there to try to get men locked into a contract where they have to pay for the rest of their lives for something they don't get, for the disposability of that man's life, until he says, I can't take it anymore, and does something to end sooner than he otherwise would. No, Mgtow's not giving up. Mgtow's looking at the long game. This is the long game. And whatever long game you want to play, and this world offers so many great long games, but you got to put up with a little bullshit along the way. You gotta go out into a little esoteric areas once in a while. Yeah, and ultimately, men will succeed if they just keep on a path that's normal and great, and the straight and narrow, we like to call it, a life, not with depravity. You can go out and have some fun, and okay, you can skirt the edges a bit. Yeah. Careful. Oh God, no! I'm not going to shame you for disagreeing. What the hell do you mean? If you disagree that 2 is less, that 2 is more than 5, yeah, I'm gonna shame you, because that's stupid, right? If you try to tell me that 2 is more than 5, I'm gonna shame you, because I can't help myself. If there's a joke in there, I'll take it. So, but if you try to say something intelligent, no, I'm not going to shame you. No one's going to shame you in Mgtow. If you say something intelligent, if you ask a good question, no, nobody's going to do that. Yeah, we don't know what, shut the door. Shut the door. I think that means shut the door. Yeah, don't let the wind in. Yeah, I'm not sure, Steve Hoka for mayor, what he's been taught. A proper definition of Mgtow. Ooh, yeah. Men going their own way. That's it. They wake up to the red pill, which is the reality as it's lived, not as it's supposed to be lived as such, or, get back to reality, and then take the appropriate steps not to drive yourself insane, not to lose your freedom, and not to die prematurely. That's what I think. So you look at the world as it really is, and what it really is the Duluth model. If you get a woman upset, what it really is Me Too if you say the wrong thing at the office or at university or anything. What the real world is family court judges taking everything with police behind them with guns to take everything. What it is putting your hopes in other people, only for them to, get a little bit bored or something like that and decide that they want something different. Well, it doesn't work that way when you go into a 30-year lifetime project, right? As I think I wrote the other day, that song by Simon and Garfunkel, marrying your fortunes together. There's none of that. Yeah, no. The women don't validate men, and men don't validate women. If you're looking for someone else to tell you what you're doing is good, well, fuck off. Really. And that goes for Mgtow men. I don't have to tell these Mgtow men that they're doing the right thing. They know they're doing the right thing, and they know they're doing the wrong thing, and they'll do it anyways until they get sick of it. It doesn't matter. Nobody needs validation from anyone else. You validate yourself. That's right there. And you got to sometimes argue your point through and through and through, because then people come at you. Okay, I'm not backing down. I don't need to back down to you or anyone. This is the world I see. This is the world I'm living in. And, yeah, whatever it's called, Craig Cook, I think it's called that. But no. But sometimes you take some advice, and maybe you need some, maybe you need to reconsider some things. Maybe you miss some information. Yeah. That's a good question, Aggie Noggy. Yeah, my sanity. Good one. Well, that's it. Mgtow is hoping men will be sane. What you see in the world is not, it's enough to drive you insane, but don't let it do that. Keep your sanity. A lot of men see it. A lot of men see it in slightly different ways, but it's insane out there. It's the upside down, and they're making it worse. The demoralization, as I say. On the one hand, the points seem reasonable. On the other hand, they're burning stuff and ripping down statues. Why? They're making up stuff. The narrative is nuts. So, I don't know. Shut the door. I lived in a world without women in my 20s, late 20s and 30s. Of course, I would talk to them. It wasn't like they were, off limits or anything. But no, I didn't chase them. I didn't invite them out. I didn't sleep with them. And I did it for 15 years, and I don't think I'm crazy. Could I have done it longer? Well, yeah, I was sort of expecting to. And then I just left Canada. I got the hell out, and things happened. But no, I don't think it drives you crazy. There's a lot of men out there, and have been throughout history. They were bachelors, but now Mgtow is slightly different. They are men who just say that the value in interacting with women isn't worth it. And no, it won't drive you crazy. You just have to be aware that you are biologically and evolutionarily programmed to respond to that shape, to that situation, to that desire for sacrifice. And once you see that, oh yeah, like I'm hungry. Oh yeah, I got to pick my nose. Oh yeah, I got to have an orgasm. Oh yeah, I got to do all of this. And that's all it is. So it's not, your life won't end. You won't drive yourself nuts if you don't get this or you don't get that. No. You don't need to do any of this. There have been men throughout history, fine men, great men, good men, who have lived very successful lives without women. They're called the Mgtow heroes, I guess. And yeah. And then again, you don't have to isolate yourself. You just have to protect yourself. Women are not evil. They're just dangerous. So if you minimize the danger, then you're fine. Whatever it is, you're fine. Just get rid of the danger. And the danger now is massive if you ever are alone in a room with a woman in the West. But in other countries, maybe not. Maybe it's not dangerous. Yeah. And as Mgtow Smurf says, okay, you want to try it? Go out and try it. Who cares? Nobody cares. Don't ask, don't tell, don't care. You picked your nose today? I couldn't give a shit. Really. I just don't care. Yeah. And that's what Trav says. If you want to do it, go. Who cares? But the last thing to do is as I wrote the other day, you say hello, you stick your head up. You give your name, you paint a target on your head. You get alone with them, the bullets start to fly, and no man can dodge all bullets. So, the choice is yours. This is the major gateway into the disposability of men today. In other places, it's foreign wars of foreign regime change. That's the major gateway. Or for other men, it's dangerous jobs. They get injured and then they can't work, and then people just let them go out on the street. So there's many entrances into the disposability of men. And right now, it's just horribly dangerous. And, at one point, maybe it was very dangerous to go into a mine. No, it's not so dangerous. There's good stuff in place in most countries in the West. In other countries, maybe you don't want to do that job. It's a disposability job. But, they put in good safety precautions. Digging down hard rock miners, they're not going to die in the mine. There's protocols for blowing up the rock and stuff. So, but in other countries, no, maybe they just don't care about men. Men are cheaper than the safety protocols. So, yep. And at this point, you got to prioritize what you absolutely need. You need water, you need air, food, sleep, and shelter. And we know Bob the Monk is a good man. We know Bob the Monk goes out to the men who live on the streets, and we know they're fighting. And we know we don't know what they're fighting, really, but we know they're fighting. And we know they're going to lose the fight, but a couple of times a year, maybe, give some of them a break. And yeah, that's funny, Steve Hoka. You don't want to do that. And anyway, shut the door. Who's not a monk? No, you don't need a female in some shape or form. No, you don't. You don't need it. You can have it. But, no, you don't need it. I don't know where the need comes from. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying, shut the door. No, you're not? Not what? Men are winning in life. Steve Hoka's on the right, for mayor's on the right side of history here. I want men to win in life, yeah. Men are going to win. It's, it's your life, what you want to do. We don't know whether you're a man or a woman. You want to jump in? You can jump into the Discord. You can jump into Hangout if you send me an email. We don't know who you are. You're perfectly welcome. I'm a reasonable man. There's no shame in here unless you say something crazy. But no, you don't need women. There's lots of monks out there who can prove it. There's lots of monks out there who can prove it. In fact, at least at the beginning of my life, I didn't need it. So, 15 years. Anyone do that? Then they can talk to me. I did it. And I did it knowing that it wasn't going to happen in the future. I had no plans at all. Zero plans to get with a woman. What happened to men in my family, to uncles, to friends of the family? No, I wasn't doing it. And I just got out of the West, and holy shit, the world's a big place. So, I don't think so, shut the door. You're going down the wrong track right now. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're not. That's not good talk. That's not good talk. That's just 3 words. So, I'm inviting you to jump in, but your last 2 comments, one more, you're out. No one's shaming anyone here. Exactly, MM. That's what I'm seeing too. We all pick it out. We're pretty used to this. We're pretty used to it. Yeah. Yep. Dude is the man. Dude's the man. Certainly is, and it's great having MM on. And yeah, winners. Yes, we are in different ways each. And casualties. There's casualties, and we honor the scars. That's it. And again, I don't have any scars, really. I don't have any, and that's why I have such great respect for those who do. Because, there's a lot of men in my family with scars. And I know from them, and I know better now. I know better now what it was, but I was able to listen enough. It sunk in my skull a little bit. So, yeah, but life throws curve balls, and you got to take it. You got to take the curve balls. You got to ride with it, and it's a little bit complex. People are thinking about how to screw around men. They're thinking about it. Oh, I don't think you were called a stupid drunk. He wasn't talking to you. I read the stupid drunk. He wasn't talking to you. Or maybe he was. Yeah, you did. I see that. I was looking for the complete name. I'm like that. Anyway, you got timed out. You got to come back and be more amenable. You were amenable at the beginning, but you got to make sense here. As I say, no shaming is allowed. But if you say that 2 is more than 5, people are going to make jokes at your disposal. Jokes at your expense. So, isn't that funny? So, yeah. No, life is good. You want to keep life good, especially now. 2020 is a year, I believe, that nobody wants to remember. Nobody will want to remember this year, although it will go down in history as the strangest election. First, they tried the Russiagate hoax. Then they tried the impeachment hoax. Then they tried the COVID-19 hoax. And while everyone was wearing a mask and thrown out of work, then they come up with the white supremacy hoax, attacking America, trying to get the guy who says he's draining the swamp out of office, and apparently he's draining the swamp. I see the corruption of Hollywood decrease. I see the corruption of Wall Street decrease. Epstein et al. And then the corruption in Washington. You see them all hiding and going away. And you get the idiots out there who think that Mexican is a race, saying stupid things. My God. This just gets me. How many people are basing their understanding of Donald Trump as racist because he says Mexico is not sending their best? And thinking that Mexico is a race. How many people actually think that? Has anyone ever Googled imaged Mexicans? Like Mexican men, Mexican women? It ain't a race. You do that with Canadian, you get a slightly different, selection of people, but it's not a race. Same thing with America. It's all New World. Welcome to the New World. And we got a lot of New Worlders here. Monk Music is an old worlder, and I'm a New Worlder, and I'm broadcasting from an old world country, oddly enough. And there's New World and Old World, and the New World is different. We think differently. We get a man like Martin Luther King Jr., and he says that, and I see some people trying to attack what he said. No, you try to attack that, you're nuts. That is the essence of what it means to escape the aristocracy thinking of Europe. Voltaire did it, Rousseau did it with their writings. But you get to America, and it's real. You can make yourself who you want. And that the person you meet, you're going to judge them by the content of their character. I'm sorry, this is it. A New Worlder, yeah, Craig Cook. You had the Old World, which was Europe, Africa, Asia, and then you have the New World, which is, for the most part, North, Central, South America, Australia, places like that. Places that were cut off from the history of the rest of the world, and most of the world was in Europe, Asia, and Africa in terms of population and stuff. So, the New World would have been, guess the Incas and the Aztecs, and then earlier on the Mayans, and then in Australia the Aboriginals and the Maoris and stuff like that. New Zealand. So that's the old world. Is Asia, Europe, and Africa, and these people were all aware of each other, more or less, and not totally. The southern part of Africa was mostly unknown. Unless you're like 100 miles away. Boom, boom, boom. But now we understand, we're on the whole world. Yeah, Craig Cook. Yeah, came out to the New World. Yeah, it's a new world. They said it was a new world because it was so big. North America and South America, massive. It's huge. And, even the Caribbean is lovely with all the islands and stuff. It's huge. So, it's a world. And, I always said I was a mongrel, like always. I thought I was, a mixture of British and Scottish and Irish. But now I find, I got a lot of French, I got Dutch, German in there as well. So I don't know, but, And if the statistics are right, I probably got some Native American Indian in there somewhere, right? One thousandth or something like that. I don't know. Doesn't matter a bit. Doesn't matter. What matters is the content of my character. And Jean Weber, qu'est-ce que tu fais? Learn to flirt? What? Why in the hell would anyone want to do that? You're nuts, man. Yeah. No, we know that men are the prize. And yeah, you want to make money, but you want to keep it. Do not let anyone take the money for no value. That's it. And when a judge says they're going to take all your money and give it to some woman so she can live in a house that you have to pay off with Chad, you lost. I'm sorry. You either accept that you're a casualty and move on, or yeah, I don't know. We seem to be you sound like a PUA there, Jean Weber. How do you know that, Iggy? That's great. How do you know that? Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. Hey, Jean Weber. Jean Weber. Are you shut up, though? Shut the door. Yeah, shut the door. Are you shut the door? It's great. We got sock puppets. It's great. But, no, the whole thing about, you need to do something to impress other people. Well, you think? You think it's Jean Weber? Jean Weber? I thought it was French. Jean. You see? Oui? I don't know. He's saying oui. So he's obviously like French Canadian or something. I don't know. You French Canadian? Maybe French. Your English isn't great, right? Yours should have been, you are, Y-O-U apostrophe R-E, but who cares how she's wired? She's gone. They're gone. Right now it's Canadian. Ah, c'est très bien. Comment allez-vous? Yeah, so am I. I'm Canadian. Yeah. What part of Canada? Jean Weber? Yeah, type in really fast. That's why. And you avoid all punctuation. That's really great. That means you're young. Not worrying about grammar. Yeah, that's right. But you spell the French right, so you got to be French. Yeah, who in the hell can spell monsieur? Right? Nobody can spell that. At least not fast. Montréal, Quebec. Ah, c'est très bien. Is it what the West Island? Mont Royal. Hey, Whiskey, we got us a Quebecois guy here. He's a PUA. He wants to be a PUA. He's a troll. No, that's laugh out loud. I thought it was troll. It's LOLLL. Yeah. So yeah, Whiskey. I tried to get up with Lamprey earlier, and we had some technical issues with the Hangout. I don't know what it is. I got to do a test. Anyway. So, but the conversation the other day went great. So I don't know. Yeah, that's about it, isn't it, MM? Yeah. Hey, live in Mount Royal. How did I pick it? Downtown. He's a millennial. He's a millennial guy living in Montreal. Yeah. No, I'm just picking it out. Are you a millennial guy? Yeah, he's 32, right? He said he's 32. So he's the absolute... No, he's not the absolute youngest millennial, but he's close. Yeah. He's a millennial. We're assuming that you're shut the door, which is funny talk for a Quebecois guy. Oh, for God's sake, Steve Hoka for mayor. I'm going to ban you for that. Yeah. Yeah, no, we are very sorry for all the millennials out there. They're getting hit. Doomed. We agree, and it's not good. No, some of the millennials aren't soy boys, right, MM? Some of the millennials are good guys, right? I don't agree totally with it. Oh, okay. What don't you agree with? Because really, Mgtow is just equivalent to not going to jail for something that's not worth the squeeze, right? Yeah, the juice is not worth the squeeze. Yeah, who doesn't love a nice fat steak? And if that's code for something. Yeah, soy. Oh, I see. The soy is that. Yeah. Yeah, Gen X 44. I'm Gen X 52. Hey, we could. It's like we're Borg or something like that. Gen X 52. Sorry, Gen X 56. Gen X 44. Millennial 32. Yeah. Homo? What's that, a type of milk or something? Homo is a type of milk, isn't it? It's like without anything taken away, right? Homogeneous milk. I remember that, buying it in Canada. It's homogeneous milk. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. We need the iGen 22 to come in and steer us in the right direction. No, Steve Hoka for mayor. He's not in love, just like the song says. I'm not in love. And don't forget it. It's a great song. And maybe I should go back and listen to it. I really haven't listened to it since, the Mgtow thing. But, that song certainly talked about, I guess, unrequited love, isn't it? It's about unrequited love. Just off the top of my head. 10cc. It's a great song. It's a great song. It's about a guy. Yeah. Just trying to navigate the pathway that I had to navigate back then. And I decided, nope. If I win, I lose. And I think that's the greatest knowledge of Mgtow for young men and women. If you win, you lose. So don't win. Don't win the girl, because then you lose. You lose a lot more. In the most polite way possible, go fuck yourself. Oh God, I got something for you guys. Where in the hell is it? So I put it in the general Mgtow on the Discord, but I'll put it in right now. Go watch that. Go, take the minute or two. It's just 2 minutes long. My God, it's funny. My God. Yeah, in the most polite way possible, and then you could say anything. My God, that's funny, Aggie. Yeah. Yeah. And it just reminded me of that video. God, this video is funny. Yeah. Yeah, Craig Cook, that's what you say. Yeah. Put your money where your mouth is. Jean Weber. Yeah. I don't totally disagree. We got no idea, you know. It's either a negative income stream or it's not. And if it's negative, why are you doing it? Yeah. And again, you know, things have changed so much. And it was Mike the Mgtow man. And he came up with that video. And, you know, he blew up his hand, right? It's not totally off, you know, he just, you know, what is it? First degree burns or something like that from fireworks. What's he doing playing with fireworks? He doesn't have a decent job. He doesn't have insurance. You know, he just fucked up his ankle. He just got fired from a job for doing an inappropriate video. You know, what is it? It's not a curse. It's just bad decisions. You can't do this. Young men, you cannot do this in this day and age. What the hell's that? Now we're getting into some friggin' new age shit? Weber. Oh, for God's sakes, I'm about to, damn, I'd hit that? Oh my God. And then we're talking about meditation? Everything is not thrown out of the window, only things with negative value. Only things with negative value are thrown out. Those are things that'll drive you crazy, things that'll remove your freedom, or things that'll end your life prematurely. They're thrown out. That's not everything. In fact, most things are not that. So you engage in most things. So, yeah, no, what's he doing? Exactly, Steve. Hoka for mayor. Mike the Mgtow. What? What are you doing, man? This is not the way you build up from the hits you took. Okay, one hit, we can see it. You know, you went off the wagon, as it were, and okay, that's the hit. Then you take the straight and narrow. You almost lost that job, and worse, with that stupidity. You come back, and then another one, then another one, then another one. So, no, it's not everything. So that's an extreme view. No, you don't throw everything out. Yeah. No, it's bad in Montreal. Don't worry, Aggie. It's bad in Montreal. You know. Although I got to say, when I was there, and I used to work out of Montreal in a band, and you walk around Montreal, all the girls were really attractive. They knew how to use colors and clothes and stuff. It was great. And but now it's dangerous. They defect too. And you see the red flags early? No, you don't. You do not. Sometimes you see the red flag when the policeman puts the handcuffs on you. That's when you see the red flag sometimes, John Weber. And it only takes once for that to happen to destroy your life. Right? And other men, okay, yeah, maybe they can see the red flag a mile away, but any woman is a red flag. End of story. Yeah, Montreal is now a feminist hellhole. I would say that. Yeah, no, you don't know that, John Weber. No. In my experience, no. You don't know that. Who was it? Who's the Pirates of the Caribbean guy? You know, his woman, she didn't have blue hair and tattoo piercing. She don't look crazy. And look what she did. She cost that man millions and a partial reputation damage that he'll have some trouble fixing. Although he made good moves. No, it's not that. You know, what just happened to our Canadian boy idol Justin Bieber? At least he made a good move. Johnny Depp, that's the guy. Johnny Depp. And, Justin Bieber, he rose a couple of notches in my book when he hit back against those bitches, or that bitch who tried to, claim that he did something to her. Yeah. Yeah, Tiger Woods. Yeah, how many of them go down? These women are not blue-haired, tattoo bitches. These are just bitches. And who was it? The author, Dan Brown or something. His ex-wife is starting to go after him. Yeah. What happened to Bieber? There was a couple of tweets saying he did something bad on a certain night in a certain place. And he went up and said, no, I got receipts for this place. I got receipts for that place. I got witnesses here. I got witnesses there. And this woman is lying, and I've instructed my lawyers to sue for $20 million. So that, yeah. Either, put up the goods or $20 million, which means I take everything you have, probably. You got nothing. And if you thought you had something, you got nothing. So shut the fuck up unless you can prove something. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, they still made his life a mess. That's what I'm saying. This is what you get with fame. You say hello, you stick your head up. You give them your name, you paint a target on your head. You're alone in a room with them, well, the bullets start to fly. But for Justin Bieber, they just knew his name. And then they Me Too'd him, right? They Me Too'd him. They just knew his name, right? He painted a target on his head, and he's getting shot at by these bitches. And there's no better word for it, because they'll bite you. They'll bite. They don't care. So yeah, no, he's hitting back hard, and that's good. He's had some trouble. Maybe he'll see that the world is not a soft place, that you got to be hard sometimes, and that the narrative of a fuzzy world is over. Yeah. And again, you don't want to have to do it, because then you're not Mgtow Ghost level 4. But he wasn't, so he's finally given them a taste, and other men should do it when they're already vulnerable and they got the resources. So Jean Weber, you're one comment away from being taken down by or Mgtow Smurf or someone. There you go. I like that, Mgtow Smurf. Yeah. Well, then you got nothing to lose, John Weber. Then you got nothing to lose. But most men in this chat, they got something to lose. So. Yeah, no, he just doesn't have anything to lose. He doesn't have any money, doesn't have any assets. Yeah. A psychopath or a gaslighter or something, a man with nothing to lose, he's in the wrong place. We don't like men like that. Men like that are manipulatable. Men like that are vicious. A man with nothing to lose is dangerous. And, a young, foolish man who thinks he's got nothing to lose, well, he'll find out one day. He'll find out just exactly what he has to lose. His sanity, his freedom, and his self-preservation. Yeah, he's lying to himself. He thinks he's got nothing to lose. There's always further down to go than hanging out on a chat, on a nice computer or hand phone with nice internet. No, there's further down to go than that. You got something to lose. Probably sitting in a nice cafe in Montreal drinking a cafe latte. Yeah. Oh man, the guy tells me he's got nothing to lose. I say, there's a guy who's not thinking clear. Yeah. So, Mgtow Smurf's got a Discord server, and I've been in it just a couple of times. I don't go to Discord a lot. I've been doing other things, and I haven't been keeping up with a lot. I was able to make it up to the listening post yesterday, but it was late because I forgot what day it was. Holy shit. What day is it? But Lamprey Milt got in touch with me today about doing a stream, so I thought I'd go up, and we had some technical problems. But he sent that very interesting document from Black Lives Matter where they outlined the campaign zero, 10 points, and of the 10 points, I think they're all reasonable. And point one, okay, there might be a little aggressive policing, may calm things down a bit, but as I say, I've got a slightly longer time horizon than Lamprey, and I can remember the 1970s and 80s in New York, and it got better. It got better without that extreme action. And what we see as the result of that extreme action is this. And I think, and you check back the 1967 riots in America, and everyone I found was incepted, was triggered by police overreach, violation of the Constitution, violation of people's rights, violation, riot. And that's what we see today. All right, the guy was sitting in his car. You think he's going to pass counterfeit money in the store that knows him, and then just go sit in his car, and that requires you to handcuff him? Oh, don't be so fucking stupid. And then you say a guy with his arms handcuffed behind his back is resisting arrest. Oh, please. You dropped him twice on the ground that I saw in the video. Oh, for God's sakes. You lying pieces of shit, and then the mayor doesn't resign. Oh, for God's sakes, what lack of accountability. 8 minutes, 46 seconds. It's murder by numbers. 1, 2, 3. Murder by numbers. And as Eggy Nagi was able to bring out, is that this guy, back in 97 was sucked into the prison industrial complex with a gram of cocaine he passed on to somebody. One day cocaine is going to be legal again, or unpunishable, I should say, again, as it was about 2 generations before I was alive. It was, readily available and advertised in newspapers and magazines. You can go check it out. Look for an advertisement on cocaine. They were advertising it. Sigmund Freud was a great user. Had to have his septum reestablished. He burnt out his nose doing it so often. And anyway, so they decided to put him in jail, and he was in and out, until they killed him. Decriminalized, I don't even like to say that, Craig Cook. I'm having trouble with the words, because if it's a lawful act, they cannot decriminalize it. You see what I'm saying? They can't make it a crime, for one thing. And if it's unlawful, they cannot legalize it. One unlawful act is murder. You cannot legalize an unlawful act. I don't care who the hell you are. If you try to do that, you're I don't know, evil. And this is what we're in. We're into an evil situation where people who want to socially engineer are variously, punishing lawful acts or not punishing unlawful acts. So I'm troubled by the words. If it's a crime, then there's a victim. I like those words. And what I don't see is a victim in so many things that the police are beating up people for. I certainly see, if you're passing counterfeit money knowingly, yeah, I see a victim. I'll say I'm a victim. Because eventually you get hyperinflation, and you destroy all savings, and you remove all motivation to work and earn money. So, but a guy who's knowingly passing counterfeit money is, first of all, not going to do it in his own neighborhood, and second of all, when he does it, he's going to drive off. Right? Wear a mask, especially in the COVID-19 times. Anyway, thanks MM for coming in and doing the stuff. Yeah, no, he was causing trouble, no question. Thank you for taking care of that, and thank you Mgtow Smurf for taking care of it both today and other days. And we get them in here. Sometimes they're interesting, sometimes they learn something. But we're concerned about men. We don't like to see, the good men get disposed of, whether they're in the millennial age group or the Gen Z age group or the Gen X, or even the we got lots of men who are baby boomers, and they know Mgtow. They are Mgtow. And they understand things change. And I see things changing, and I see young men, and I'm with the young men. I'm with them. And so they got problems. Yeah, they got problems. And some of them are soy boys, and they don't know what they're doing. They're out there ripping down statues, thinking that there's, white supremacy or something. Well, there's not. They're just normal. Most white people, they just think it's normal. And they don't know what happens in the judicial system. It's the government that's out of control. It's the government that's manufacturing this destabilization. And they've been doing it since the 1960s and probably even before. This is what they're doing. They're just out of control. They have to be stopped. And the way to stop the police is not to rip down statues of Christopher Columbus. He wasn't necessarily a bad guy. He was a tough guy, no question. But, he was just looking for India on a boat. The guy with nerves of fucking steel. Nobody had ever really tried that. Okay, some people may have. Maybe he had information. But regardless, he was the guy who did it. And, if everyone was that fucking brave, they would have done it, 600 years earlier or 1,000 years earlier. Well, they didn't. He's the guy who did it. And I think it's a shame to go back and to rewrite history and to say that these tribes didn't put up a good fight and lose. That they were just, they didn't have agency to sign the treaties. They didn't have agency to fight. They fought and they lost. And that was, in the year 1600, 1700, up into the 1800s. That's it. Other places, they fought and they lost, and that was it. It's over. Whatever happens. But, these people, I don't know, they want to lose and win at the same time. Oh, you can't do that. You lost. But get on with the show. Hey, it's you're in the Empire now. It's not too bad. Everyone's welcome in the Empire, especially the New World aspect of it. And just prove yourself and you're fine. And a lot have, so there's no worries. Oh, yeah. Anyone hear about that Seattle situation? So, the Antifa BLM have closed the highway or something like this. This car came down and hit the two bitches. I say they're bitches. Well, because they're blue hair with tattoos. Did you see pictures of them? Oh, my God. I'm not going to say what the best thing to happen to them was, but, why are they blocking traffic on a highway? Like, what's that doing? Right? I don't know. Maybe he's doing something, but I don't think he's doing anything. Anyway, they got hit by a car. Yeah, my God. They got hit by a car. One of them just died. And so, at first, they were saying that it was some, crazy right-winger. And again, anyone they don't like is a crazy right-winger did it. I don't think the guy's a crazy right-winger. First of all, he's like an immigrant, I believe. I believe he's like a first-generation, like off-the-boat immigrant from, Somalia or something like that. So he's a black guy driving a luxury car in Seattle and comes around a corner and I don't know, hits these people, two of them, and Jaywalkers' lives matter. Holy shit. Oh, man, you're going to get this channel taken down. Yes, my God, Jaywalkers' lives matter. Anyway, one of them just died, which is unfortunate. Nobody wants them to die. They're women. They have a right to live their life. But they're out on a highway. But, all the slamming, this guy just seems like a normal guy. He's off the boat trying to make his life in America. And let's go back to the Simon and Garfunkel song, right? Coming to America. And, okay. So this is what they do. So they arrest the guy now. Great. Black Lives Matter? Well, not that guy's life. He's now going to jail, you stupid bitch. Because you can't fucking find out where the sidewalk is and stay on it. You stupid bitch. Okay, another man's life disposed of. Because you have some fucking agenda. Now, I'm going to say that trying to get police accountability is all well and good. But, I don't know. Blocking a highway? I don't know. Yeah. I know. Oh, God. Yeah, well, he's getting metal, but they're called metal handcuffs, Craig Cook. They just took him to jail. The other one, I guess, is still in the hospital with injuries. Again, nobody wants to see anyone hurt, but stay on the sidewalk. And, this poor guy comes to America. I'm in America. I'm working. Smash. I'm in jail. Like, what the fuck they do in the middle of the highway? That's crazy. I've been to a lot of countries. They don't hang out in the middle of the fucking highway. This crazy country. Crazy country. Get me back to Somalia. I don't know. Yes, and I was speaking without using verbs, emulating a second speaker of English. Oh my God. As was the case with many of my ancestors. They did fine. Yeah. Oh, did you really, Whiskey? Yep, that's right. It's going to happen. And now, with that situation and, armed black gangs threatening monuments, challenging the demoralized whiteys to come out and defend the monuments, to a whole culture of which, okay, some small but significant part was slavery. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Baron Exile. I had heard that, once he saw that there was an obstruction and that there was people, he attempted to not hit them. It's not like he charged into them knowing that they were there, trying to support his right not to be beaten up unfairly by the police, which is true. And so, nevertheless, no, the mob wants the blood. The mob wants the blood. You got to give them the blood. They're crying for blood. What was it in, Jesus Christ Superstar? Stone 'em, burn 'em, nail 'em. The crowd gets all whipped up, and all they taste is blood. That's all they taste is blood. Rip down the statues. Burn the stars. Blood. And all of this is, meant to frighten people and make them think that Donald Trump has lost control of the country, which to some extent he certainly has. And you whip up the mob into a frenzy. This is a crazy election. I've never seen anything like it. And Americans had better steel themselves to withstand this type of attempt by the deep state, by the military-industrial complex behind the scenes, and all other, swamp-like creatures from reestablishing their control ASAP. That's what they want. In fact, you got some Republican, establishment figures, supporting the Democrats. It's just the establishment. The swamp wants to continue. And, they pulled down Epstein, they pulled down Weinstein, pulled down Podesta, all the operatives for the deep state. The swamp is being drained here and there. Fauci is still in there for some reason. Bolton is suddenly silent because, my God, what he's saying is like disgusting, violent, horrible. And people realize it was good for Trump to keep him close, your friends close, your enemies closer. Yeah, that's it. So we'll have to see. Trump's withstanding all of this. Of course, he knows there are a lot of people are saying, yeah, he didn't do the COVID-19. He didn't invent it. He tried to stop it, but he made the mistake, ultimately, of even recognizing it. That's what I'm thinking now. But again, I'm hindsight 2020. So, he probably made a good move. Now he's wondering what in the hell to do next. Just get people back to work. No one's getting sick and dying of this unless they want to believe it. People are not any longer worried about reality. They're worried about models of reality. Let's create a model of reality. No, let's not. Let's look at reality itself. Let's do some actual counting of actual things. Now, this is the problem now. Nobody's got the time to do it. They're too busy, going to Montreal, and drinking the cafe latte and making horrible statements on their internet to men who are winners. And okay, you're not winning so much this year. Nobody's winning this year. Nobody's going to win this year a whole lot. If you are, shut up about it. Just shut up. I don't want to hear it. Nobody wants to hear that you're winning this year. If you're not losing, okay, that's fine. That's good. If you're losing, you're probably normal. And so, now in this year, I think if you just can hold your own, that's good. And so, winning this year is holding your own. But, again, take the time, gain some skills, dust off your CV, move in a new direction. You're happening. You're happening. And went to Whiskey's hangout the other day. It was good. He was on at a better time for me, and it was good to be there. Half lurking and reminding me of some stuff to do. My God. I know you don't know who's making the models anymore. It could be a really smart high school student, but no, it's still just, I don't know. So let's get out of models and let's get back to reality. I think this is the grand contribution Mgtow is making to, questions of social reality. It's to look at reality, and let's get back to reality. So we need to do this. We need to do this. Yeah. No, if this was written as a piece of fiction, in the last 4 or 5 years was written as a piece of fiction, like satirical fiction, like The Simpsons or something, or, they picked Trump for president, but, that given everything else after, oh my God, nobody would believe it. Nobody would buy the book, because it's just too unbelievably fanciful. Did you hear what Slow Joe said? My God, you have to call him slow. It's just right. He said, I'm Joe Biden's husband, Joe Biden. And then, I don't know, he was in the middle of some question and answer, and he said, dog-faced liar, and then smiled, and as some guy was asking a question to him, and gave this sort of goofy, like crazy smile. And the guy was asking a serious question about cognitive decline. He answered the question well, but he started it, with this sort of dog-faced liar. This is nuts. I remember pony, dog-faced pony, liar, or something like that comment. I looked it up as a movie reference from a movie in the 50s. So, had some reference to that, but my God. Yeah. Late stage, I know. Late stage. It ain't early. It ain't early. Early you don't really see it. It could have been just a little fuck up like the one I just made, right? But late stage, I'm Joe Biden's husband, Joe Biden. Like what's that? They used to think Ronald Reagan was problematic, and he was not in his first term. In his second term, you saw it, but it was nowhere near even as bad as this. Although he did speak less, but when he spoke, he was there. He was there up until the end. And cognitive dissonance. Yeah. You got to have anyone who's going to vote for him has to have severe cognitive dissonance. or they're just not seeing it in the Democrat media. In fact, I want to call now, the New York Times and MSNBC, CNN. This is the Democrat Party media. Let's just call it that. The DP media, Democratic Party media. And we are part of, this whole thing is part of an election campaign. It's serious business running the deep state of America. And, Reagan was a great speaker, and he had great writers, obviously, and knew how to run his writers to get what he wanted. His writers knew what to do, and he could deliver it. No, it's a package. And I got to say, though, who was it? I was on watching Donald Trump's State of the Union address, and I thought it was great. In fact, I got to say, it was a great speech. Obviously he didn't write the whole thing, but he directed it, and it was a great speech. And I've seen a few State of the Union addresses, maybe 5, maybe 8 or something in my lifetime. And this would have been up there as one of the best, if not the best. And now, what are they doing? Yeah. Yes, that's what I say too, Whiskey. Exactly what you just said. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Ben Stein, I don't know. I don't know who Ben Stein is, Eggy Noggy, but yeah, obviously he had top writers, and they knew how he worked and how he thought. He was a long-time speaker. He was a union leader for the Actors Guild. The only union leader to ever become president. And he used to give great speeches as an actor, trying to expand his horizons. Here was a man who was an actor, and he said, well, I'm a B actor, I'm okay. But then he went into the Actors Guild, and then he went into politics. So, but his early speeches showed that Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's it. Win Ben Stein's money. Oh, right. I remember that now. Win Ben Stein's money. My God. What a little wisp of memory that brought up. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel was on that, oddly enough. Isn't that something? Now he's a piece of shit. Oh God. Yeah, I don't remember ever watching it. I might have, but I remember the title and I remember the face. Yeah. So he worked at the White House. Oh no, he's son of the economist and writer Herbert Stein, who worked at the White House under Nixon. So he began his career, Ben Stein, as a speechwriter for Presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. And he was the actor in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It doesn't mention Reagan here. Let me see if I can get it. I'm not getting Reagan here. Yeah, I'm not getting Ben Stein with Ronald Reagan. I'm getting him with Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. If he worked for those two, he probably, did something with Ronald Reagan, because he was around at that time as a conservative governor of California. So yeah, so anyway, interesting guy, I guess. Wow. Win Ben Stein's money. Yeah. Yeah, you think you knew the answers beforehand? Probably. They don't let anything go to chance. Isn't that the rule? Don't let anything go to chance. So, yeah, no, I think I said that to someone the other day, Baron Exile. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for Joe Biden's VP. And if it's going to be a woman, they're going to try to stick a woman in, that way. They did it in Canada that way. What was her name? Under Brian Mulroney. So. Yeah, no, I don't know about. I've seen a list, or not a list, but names pop up. Women. Gretchen Whitmer. Yeah, she's the bitch from Minnesota, isn't it? Or not Minnesota, Michigan. One of those M1s. Yeah, Pat Buchanan. He's still writing. I like Pat Buchanan's writing. I like his analysis. He was a smart man. He was a presidential candidate and a realistic one too. Not that I, would think he would be great, but he might be. He was on point and with the best interest. You never know. And America used to have a lot of people who were candidates. Michigan, home to Detroit. Yes, lovely Detroit. Detroit was good, and then the riots came, and then the unions came, the auto unions, and they just destroyed it. And not only them, but the management of General Motors, they were horrible. What's good for General Motors is good for America. No, it's not. That wasn't the case. That's what the head of General Motors said. What an idiot. And as a result, General Motors declined and foreign automakers excelled because they took their eye off the ball and they weren't making good cars and they were fucking up royally just about everywhere. So we see that major, institutions fail, and maybe, General Motors was big, it was huge, and it failed, and America's big and huge, and it seems to be failing. And it's failing for the very reasons that we see. Black Lives Matter is on a rampage. People support it because maybe they support the reasonable things that they're doing. But the unreasonable things they're doing is just ripping everything to shreds. People, history, everything. The sense of ownership. You don't own anything, not even your ideas. The cancel culture will probably take me, it'll probably take Whiskey, it'll take all of us, but don't worry. We'll be back somehow, some way, someplace, sometime. And that's it. They're going to try to muzzle men's voices. They have before, and they have over time. But the message is clear out there. I see a lot of men taking the right decision. And we see, thankfully, we see divorce numbers going down. And they're going down because marriages are going down. And men are no longer entering into a contract that will not give them any protection whatsoever. And, if we can get the number of men off the streets down, or living on the streets down, get the men off the streets, and stop the other things too, then we know we're making some progress. Some more progress. Progress has been made. I think that's just I think that should be a message. Progress has been made, and no one wants to talk about it. There's a title for you. Progress has been made, but shh. Anyway, I think I'll end things here. It was great coming up and having a chat, and I thank Lamprey Milt for coming in for a bit, and Monk Music for both coming in and taking care of some trouble in the chat, along with Whiskey and Mgtow Smurf. And we're looking at what's happening. The Campaign Zero. This is the demoralization. You can't be against Black Lives Matter if you're against those 10 points, and I don't think anyone is going to be against those 10, although maybe the first one, there's a reason for maybe tougher policing, but I don't think so. Anyway, I want to Thank everyone for coming in the chat. We had some fun with some trolls. Hey, that's always great fun. Have some fun with the trolls before they get too radical and we throw them out. But we don't want to. We definitely don't want to do that. We want to bring people in and have them make good sentences, good statements, and good ideas. That's what we like. Anyway, we'll end it here, and remember, Mgtow Plenty 2020.